In modern days, we have evolved two types of classification based on their physical properties and chemical nature. Physical aspects of matter has been discussed in previous episodes. In this episode, we are going to talk about classification of matter based on their chemical nature. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I hope you are doing well. Today, we are going to talk about different types of classification of matter based on their chemical nature and properties. So, let's begin the show. Widely, based on their chemical nature, matter are classified into pure substances and mixtures. To understand the difference between a pure substance and a mixture, let's understand the difference between a physical and chemical change. In previous episode, we discussed about a few physical properties of matter. The properties that can be observed and specified like color, hardness, rigidity, fluidity, density, melting point, boiling point, etc. are the physical properties. The interconversion of states is a physical change because these changes occurs without a change in composition and the chemical nature of the substance. Although ice, water and water vapor all look different and display different physical properties, but they are chemically the same. Both water and cooking oil are liquid, but their chemical characteristics are different. They differ in odor and inflammability. We know that oil burns in air, whereas water extinguishes fire. It is the chemical property of oil that makes it different from water. Burning is a chemical change. During this process, one substance reacts with another to undergo a change in chemical composition. Chemical change brings the change in the chemical properties of matter, and we get new substances. A chemical change is also called a chemical reaction. During burning of a candle, both physical and chemical change take place. How do we judge whether milk, ghee, butter, salt, spices, mineral water, or juice that we buy from the market are pure? Have you ever noticed the word pure written on the package of these consumables? For a common person, pure means having no adulteration. But for a scientist, all these things are actually mixture of different substances and hence not pure. For example, milk is actually a mixture of water, fat, protein, etc. When a scientist says that something is pure, it means that all the constituent particles of that substance are the same in their chemical nature. A pure substance consists of a single type of particles. In other words, a substance is a pure single form of matter. As we look around, we can see that most of the matter around us exists as a mixture of two or more pure components. For example, seawater, minerals, soil, etc. are all mixtures. On the basis of their chemical composition, substances can be classified either as elements or compounds. Robert Boyle was the first scientist to use the term element in 1661. Antoine Laurent Lavoisier, a French chemist, was the first to establish an experimentally useful definition of an element. He defined an element as a basic form of matter that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by chemical reactions. These elements can be further subdivided into metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. We will discuss these classifications later. And a compound is a substance composed of two or more elements chemically combined with one another in a fixed proportion. So, these were the definitions and types of pure substances. Now, let's move to the mixture. Mixtures are constituted by more than one kind of pure form of matter, known as a substance. A substance cannot be separated into other kind of matter by any physical process. We know that dissolved sodium chloride can be separated from water by the physical process of evaporation. However, sodium chloride is itself a substance and cannot be separated by physical process into its chemical constituents. Similarly, sugar is a substance because it contains only one kind of pure matter and its composition is the same throughout. Soft drink and soil are not single substances. Whatever the source of the substance may be, it will always have the same characteristic properties. Therefore, we can say that a mixture contains more than one substance. As we discussed in previous section, a compound is a substance composed of two or more elements. And here we talked about mixtures, that mixtures are constituted by more than one kind of pure form of matter. As we can see, these two classifications need some more clarifications. Hence, I am going to compare these two classifications. Let's have a look at this table. Comparison of mixture and compounds. In the case of mixture, elements or compounds just mix together to form a mixture and no new compound is formed. But in the case of compounds, elements react to form new compounds. In the case of mixture, a mixture has a variable composition. But in the case of compound, the composition of each substance is always fixed. In the case of mixture, a mixture shows the property of the constituent substances. But in the case of compounds, the new substance has totally different properties. In the case of mixture, the constituents can be separated fairly and easily by physical methods. But in the case of compound, the constituents can be separated only by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Depending upon the nature of the components that form a mixture, we can subdivide mixtures as homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. A homogeneous mixture is a solid, liquid or gaseous mixture that has the same proportion of its components throughout any given sample. For example, solution. A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. In a solution, there is a homogeneity at the particle level. For example, lavender tastes the same throughout. This shows that particles of sugar or salt are evenly distributed in the solution. A solution has a solvent and solute as its components. The components of the solution that dissolves the other component in it is called solvent. The component of the solution that is dissolved in the solvent is called solute. Usually, the solvent are present in larger amount and solutes are present in lesser quantity. To make solution more specific, let's discuss some of its properties. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. The particles of the solution have smaller than 1 nanometer diameters, so they cannot be seen by naked eyes. Because of very small particle size, they do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution, so the path of light is not visible in a solution. A solute particle cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration. The solute particles do not settle down when left undisturbed. That's why a solution is stable. We have observed that in a solution, the relative proportion of the solute and solvent can be varied. The concentration of a solution is the amount of solute present in a given amount of solution by mass or volume, or the amount of solute dissolved in a given mass or volume of the solvent. Concentration of solution is equal to amount of solute per unit amount of solution, or concentration of solution is equal to amount of solute per unit amount of solvent. There are various ways to express the concentration of a solution, but here we will discuss only two methods. First one is mass by mass percentage of a solution, which is equal to mass of solute per unit mass of solution into 100. Second one is mass of volume percentage of a solution, which is equal to mass of solute per unit volume of solution into 100. Depending upon the amount of solute present in a solution, it can be called a dilute, concentrated or saturated solution. At any particular temperature, a solution that has dissolved as much solute as it is capable of dissolving is said to be a saturated solution. In other words, when no more solute can be dissolved in a solution at a given temperature, it is called a saturated solution. The amount of solute present in the saturated solution at this temperature is called its solubility. If the amount of solute contained in a solution is less than the saturation level, it is called an unsaturated solution. Okay, it's enough discussion about homogeneous mixture. Let's move toward heterogeneous mixture. A heterogeneous mixture is a solid, liquid or gaseous mixture that has the different proportions of its components throughout any given sample. It is further subdivided as suspension and colloidal. A suspension is a heterogeneous mixture in which the solute particles do not dissolve but remains suspended throughout the bulk of the medium. Particles of a suspension are visible to the naked eyes. To make it more clear, here are some of its properties. Suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. The particles of a suspension can be seen by the naked eyes. The particles of a suspension scatter a beam of light passing through it and make its path visible. The solute particles settle down when a suspension is left undisturbed. Hence, a suspension is unstable. Suspension can be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration. When the particles settle down, the suspension breaks and it does not scatter light anymore. Another classification of heterogeneous mixtures are colloidal solutions. The particles of a colloid are uniformly spread throughout the solution. Due to the relatively smaller size of particles as compared to that of a suspension, the mixture appears to be homogeneous. But actually, a colloidal solution is a heterogeneous mixture. For example, milk. Because of the small size of colloidal particles, we cannot see them with naked eyes, but these particles can easily scatter a beam of visible light. This scattering of beam of light is called Tyndall effect, after the name of scientist who discovered this effect. Tyndall effect can be also observed when a fine beam of light enters a room through a small hole. This happens due to the scattering of light by the particles of dust and smoke in the air. Here we have some properties of colloid. A colloid is a heterogeneous mixture. The size of particles of colloid is too small to be individually seen by naked eyes. Colloids are big enough to scatter a beam of light passing through it and make its path visible. They do not settle down when left undisturbed. That's why a colloid is quite stable. They cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration, but a special technique of separation known as centrifugation can be used to separate the colloidal particles. The component of colloidal solution are the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. The solute-like component or dispersed particle in a colloid form the dispersed phase, and the component in which the dispersed phase is suspended is known as a dispersion medium. Colloids are classified according to the physical state of dispersion medium and dispersed phase. We discussed above that During burning of a candle, both physical and chemical changes take place. Think about this and comment your observation below. We will see you in next episode. Until then, take care. For more information about this or any episode of the series, check out the blog. Link is in the description. We have additional contents, further readings and transcripts of every show. If you value the show and educational resources and wanna help keep it going, subscribe the channel and also subscribe our blog. Or alternatively, you can like, comment and share the show. It may be just a click for you, but every little bit adds up. Thank you for coming to the channel and watching to the video. I hope you love the show.